Hey everybody, movie reviewer, movie reviewer next door here. Sorry, fucked up my words a little bit there. And I'm back with another movie review, and this time I saw, well, some of it's blotted out, but Section 8. It's a 2022 action thriller film directed by Christian Sesma, and it stars Ryan Quanten, Dolph Lundgren, Dermot Mulroney, Scott Adkins, and Mickey Rourke. In this film, after avenging the murder of his family, a former soldier is sprung from prison and recruited by a shadowy government agency. So, what did I think of Section 8? Well, I have a little bit of a spotty history with Christian Sesma. I've only seen two of his films all the way through. I think I watched a little bit of Pay Dirt. I never finished it. I've seen Take Back, and I've seen um every last one of them. Um, and maybe I'll have to watch both of them again. I just remember Take Back was very disappointing. Looking back at it, my rating is too high. It was very disappointing because I was looking forward to Jillian and Michael Jai White finally getting more of an acting role and being able to do fighting as well. Michael Jai White didn't get to do any fighting, and Jillian White, her big fight happens in the dark and you can't see what's happening. And she is a very talented fighter. I have seen her fight, like in actuality, not like in a movie. She's very talented. She's almost as talented as Michael J. White. They've trained together. Yet, because made during COVID, we have to use COVID protocol. Why does that mean the fight has to happen in the dark? Whatever. That was disappointing. Every last one of them was a piece of shit. Um, with not a lot good to it, really, to be perfectly honest. Even fucking Jake Weber couldn't save that, and I love Jake Weber to death. But this is easily his best film I've seen so far out of the three I've seen, and I think it's half decent. I don't love it. The villain is definitely part of the reason I can't give this higher, and there's just a few acting performances that don't hit exactly right. Some of the action doesn't work like it should. Just, I guess, some hollow things about it, and also that it feels very similar to another film, and I'll talk about that. But let me get to the cast. Ryan Quanten plays Jake Atherton. His family is killed. He avenges their deaths very early on in the film. It's not a spoiler. Um, and then he gets recruited into Section 8, which is like a shadowy group of assassins. Um, Ryan Quanten is an actor that I like. I've seen him in a few films. A film that I think more people should see that he's in, Blunt Force Trauma. Kind of, I've heard it described as an art house action film. I don't really understand that term. It's more of an action drama, but I really did enjoy it. Even if some parts felt a bit overextended, for the most part, the emotional weight of it really worked. He did a good job. Frida Pinto did a good job. Mickey Rourke even did a good job, unlike in this. Um, but yeah, there's also Hurricane Heist, which again, for a movie like that, you don't expect good acting, but I think he did a good job in it. And apparently, he was in Kill Chain with Nicolas Cage. I completely fucking forgot he was in that. I blotted that movie completely out of my mind. But he's fine here. He starts out kind of slow with his acting, and he gets better as it goes on. Dolph Lundgren plays Tom Mason, basically an old war buddy um of Jake's. Sorry, my eyes are having trouble. I need to get glasses. Um, Dolph Lundgren's been in a lot of these types of movies semi-recently, and I think it's partially so that he can get money to direct his own movies because he semi-recently did Wanted Man, which was him, Kelsey Grammer, somebody else, I forgot the other name. And he directed that and starred in it. Like, actually starred in it. He was the main character. And he's been doing a lot of these second starring roles, like around when he was dealing with a divorce and had to do a bunch of movies really quickly in order to pay for the divorce and all that. But he's fine here. He doesn't really get to do much, sadly. He gets a couple action scenes, but really doesn't get to do much in them. Dermot Mulroney plays Sam Ramsey. He is basically the head of Section 8. He's our main villain. It's no it's no twist. It's not. Um Dermot Mulroney is an actor that I don't think I hate, but I don't really love him. I've seen him in things like wait, was he an abduction? Martin Price. I don't remember. I don't remember that. But he's been in films. He was in Point of No Return, which is a film that this feels very similar to, and I'll get to that. He was also in that John Travolta movie. Oh yeah, The Courier with Olga Kurylenko. John Travolta movie I Am Wrath, which he was eh in. But yeah, not an amazing actor, I don't think, and I don't think he's that threatening as a villain here. Scott Adkins plays Leonard Locke. He's basically a hitman hired in order to take out Jake. He is one of the better acting performances, even though he doesn't say much, and he does get some pretty fun fights. And I think part of the reason Scott Adkins fights look a bit better than everybody else's is because first, he's insanely talented, and second, he works as a fight choreographer as well, so I think he can choreograph his own fights. And maybe they would have benefited from doing that for the others, even though most of the other fights don't look too bad. Um, I kind of wish he was the main villain though. And Mickey Rourke plays Earl Atherton. I think he's the uncle of Jake. Mickey Rourke, most of his roles recently, he's just been like sitting around not doing anything. I'll give him one thing at least here. He cries at the end of the movie. I'll give him that. But like in Take Back, for the most part, it looks like he's lost, like he doesn't know where he is. And if he has aphasia like Bruce Willis, it would not surprise me. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I hope they're not taking advantage of Mickey Rourke. I've heard he's an asshole. I've heard he's hard to work with, just like Bruce Willis. Maybe that's early onset aphasia. Somebody needs to check that out. Mickey Rourke's family, please check that out. But yeah. Section 8. I kind of watched this on a whim. It's one of those where I was like, gonna try to watch some newer movies. See what's going on. This was one that I didn't catch up with until now. Uh, on my radar because Dolph Lundgren's in it, and I knew he probably wasn't gonna get much to do since he's the second star. And usually, when you have a bigger action star in the second role, that usually means they're in 10 to 20 minutes of the film, like with the Bruce Willis stuff, like with the Jean-Claude Van Damme direct-to-video stuff. Um, Even though a lot of his stuff, it has been him starring, but then there's stuff like Dragon Eyes or whatever. And with Dolph Lundgren, you've got stuff like that Cuba Gooding Jr. movie. Excuse me. Um, Damn it, I can't remember the name of it. Uh, well, there's Puncture Wounds also with Kung Lee in the starring role. But yeah, you know what I mean. But this film overall kind of feels like a newer version of Point of No Return, which is in turn a remake of La Femme Nikita. I've never seen the original. I've only seen Point of No Return. I thought it was okay. I I I legitimately thought Badham's direction was kind of mediocre in the action scenes and that, and it kind of felt a bit limp. Bridget Fonda, I don't think is a great actress. I really don't. Um, Dermot Mulroney, every scene he's in, I hated. It was nice to see Anne Bancroft, but I wasn't a huge fan of that movie. But here, I You're probably gonna get somebody that says that this is a John Wick ripoff because there's a group of assassins. That means it's like John Wick. That means it's ripping off John Wick, guys. Did you know that this movie's ripping off John Wick because it's simply an action movie that's using tropes and cliches? I'm not gonna go on that rant again. I just went on that rant with Beekeeper. But this film, it's trying to be kind of a throwback to 80s action movies, um, with a simple plot, trying to go all out on the action for the most part. I will say the action is pretty well done for the most part. There's a couple of fights where the editing is a bit odd, but for the most part, I think Ryan Kwanten is selling the fight scenes. There's a fight scene where there's a bunch of like gangbanger characters that come up and try to hurt Ryan Kwanten's character, and he takes a wrench out and just starts beating the shit out of him. And I was like, okay, that was well done. I bought it. I don't think he's like a super unbuyable. I buy him more as an action star than I do someone like uh I don't know, Machine Gun Kelly. But yeah, I don't think Ryan Kwanten is bad for this role. I think he can play this kind of role, give it a bit of emotion. The issue is Ryan Kwanten doesn't give a lot of emotion to this character. It is one man army at a lot of points and a bit hollow, I guess. And I kind of wish he had added a bit more to it, but still, for the most part, this is just a decent action movie. It's for me at least because my version of it doesn't quite hit the mark of being fully enjoyable. It's more so there's some issues, but it still hits some sweet spots. I can definitely give credit to this film for using blood squibs. I will always give credit to films for doing that, especially if they look good. These blood squibs are pretty good. Um, some practical explosions as well. I'm glad that Christian Sesma has gone away from the CG shit that he used in um, every last one of them and Take Back because there's a bit of CGI blood in Take Back where there's scissors in someone and you can see that they've got it on like one layer of the screen and they're like moving the camera. If they hadn't moved the camera, it wouldn't have looked quite as bad, but they move the camera and it's just stationary. It looks really bad. Um, and the CGI blood squibs in or blood spurts in every last one of them looked really bad, like insanely so. But I'm glad that he's learning from his mistakes, and I hope because I'm gonna watch another film of his to give him another chance. Lights Out. But I'm hoping that he keeps doing that because that's something I wish a lot of action directors nowadays would do. That's something the director of John Wick, Chad Stahelski, hasn't learned is that when you get a bigger budget, you should use blood squibs so that the action, I don't know, feels a bit more exciting. Since John Wick Chapter 4 wasn't that exciting for me. And yeah, I'd watch this over John Wick Chapter 4. This is shorter. I didn't feel as bored watching it. Like, John Wick Chapter 4 legitimately left me bored and angry. This movie doesn't make me angry. This is just a pretty competent action film. And yeah, you're always going to get lower ratings for stuff like this because they're going to lump every Dolph Lundgren made a new movie. Jean-Claude Van Damme made a new movie. Let's have it have low reviews. You're always gonna get that. Kind of hard to avoid. Um, we all know that there's people that'll say, "Oh, this is the worst movie ever made," when clearly there's good things about it. So to say something is the worst movie ever made or one of when there's clearly good things to it, the blood squibs, um, Scott Adkins is in it. That's one thing. If you say any Scott Adkins film is the worst film ever made, then you're lying. I'm sorry. Scott Adkins alone brings something to every movie. And even if some people say he's wasted in this, I don't think he's wasted. He's just a minor role. Um, that's a bit different than wasted. If he was a main villain and he didn't really do anything, then I'd say wasted. But the fact that he is a minor supporting villain, um, or just a supporting character villain, makes it so I'm like, okay, he did his role. He's a supporting character. He's not the main villain. If he was the main villain and did exactly what he did in this movie, I'd be bored and I'd be like, yeah, he should have done more. But yeah, I think some people need to learn the difference between wasted and different type of role. Dolph Lundgren, yes, I can understand if you say he's wasted because a lot of movies like this, again, he's also like 70. So don't go too fucking hard on him. He's literally like 70. And what else can I really say about this? Oh yeah. There was one really eye-rolly part. There's a part later, like about the middle of the movie, where they're ordered to kill a senator. I forgot his name, but they have him say shit like this election will not be stolen. And I thought that was a pretty clear reference to Trump, and they were saying it as if you're supposed to root for this guy getting killed. And I'm not saying this because I'm a Trump supporter. That has nothing to do with it. If it was somebody else, I'd be like, yeah, this is pretty tasteless. They could have left that out. They didn't need all this shit about him saying, make Arkansas great again, or whatever the fuck he said. It's very clear that they're doing a Trump pantomime. And this just reminds me of the time back in 2016, 2017, where every skit show, every YouTuber was making Trump jokes, and it got really fucking old really quick because it was the same joke over and over. And yeah, with Biden, it's that way too. Like every Biden joke is like, oh, he's gonna fall over, oh, he's gonna poop his pants, that type of thing. But like, still, it gets old on both sides. Like, you didn't need this in this movie. You could have easily cut it out. I just remembered that and I was like, this is this is unneeded. You don't need us to root for a president getting killed or senator. They say senator, but yeah, the election will not be stolen and make whatever state it was great again. No, just unneeded shit. But overall, again, if you're looking for like a bit of a time waster, I'd say this could be that. It's nothing fantastic, but it does go above what you usually expect. Excuse me, for direct-to-video action. And I do think Christian Sesma is definitely improving. I I said definitely twice. I definitely think he is improving his craft. I look like shit today. um, but I do think he's improving. He definitely improved a lot of filming shit in this one and like the action, the way he shot the action, but yeah. I'd say watch it if you see it on like Prime or something or Tubi. But yeah. That was my review of Section 8. If you've seen the film, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. If you have any recommendations, put those down there as well. And movie reviewer next door, out.